The Seattle Mariners play a complete baseball game today, minus maybe a little bit of hiccup from the bullpen. And thanks to a little bit of help around Major League Baseball, they now hold a 10-game lead in the American League West. What a time to be a Mariners fan right now. What is up? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back and welcome into the Seattle Mariners post-game recap. Mariners defeat the Guardians tonight 8-5. They improved. I'm losing track of what their record is. 44-31 on the year. Like I said, they extend their AL West lead to 10 games. Before I dive in this recap, as always, do me a favor. Smash that like button. Cannot thank you guys enough for continuing to do that. My mic should be better today. My kids are playing on the computer. They're unplugging it, so we'll blame them for any weird mic stuff. Subscribe if you're new or you're just lurking. I'm on the road to 4,000. I'm about 340 away. My goal is to get that maybe by the end of the month, maybe not quite possible, but that's the goal I'm shooting for. And comment your thoughts on the Mariners game and the AL West in general down below. Mariners really do play a pretty complete baseball game today. They almost let it slip away. Something about these AL Central road games with Bryce Miller on the bump seems to be kryptonite for the Mariners. A couple weeks ago in Cleveland, big lead. They end up blowing it tonight. They kept it together, but there was a couple moments where it looks like they may lose that baseball game. But they hold it together, get the W. And listen, right now, every W is just a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. When you can extend that lead, it is even better. So really no complaints for me tonight. And listen, these AL Central teams are scrappy. Kansas City's a tough team. Cleveland's a tough team. They don't strike out a lot. They put the ball in play. Their bullpen is lights out, and the Mariners were able to get to their bullpen a little bit tonight. It would have been nice when the Mariners were up 7-1 to be able to give Munoz a day off in a game like that. But Munoz also hasn't pitched much recently. He threw how many innings against Texas? 1 inning against Texas, 1 against Chicago. So I really don't think Munoz is actually being overused. That's something I've seen a lot. I really don't think they're overusing Munoz. Now, he's their best reliever, and they're relying on him to get a lot of these crucial outs, but I really don't think he's actually been overused. Now, it stings a little bit because now you might not have him tomorrow, probably a good chance you don't. So that part of it stings, but you got to win the game that's in front of you. You got to get it done. So, I'm not going to complain. And where the Mariners are at in the standings, I'm not going to be too frustrated about tomorrow. I'm focused on the here and now and everything. So, that is what it is. I didn't think Bryce Miller was at his best today necessarily. But again, against a tough lineup, scrappy lineup, did enough. And the offense really starting to turn it around. Pretty good series against Texas, I thought, overall. They didn't do much against Texas's bullpen on Friday, but I thought they hit Haney pretty well. On Saturday, they chased Evaldi. Sunday, they put up 5 runs, chased Dunning, and get to the bullpen. And then today, they put it on Tristan McKenzie after a couple tough first couple innings for the Mariners. They bounced back with a huge third inning, and they forced the Guardians to use a couple solid relievers today. Heron had to pitch. He's a good reliever. He pitched inning in 2/3. Barlow pitched an inning. Truly everybody in this Guardians bullpen has great ERAs and peripherals. But, so, you knock a starter out early again today. Is the offense perfect? No. By no means. But it is starting to creep into average. And I think that's about where their WRC plus is coming into today. In fact, let me pull it up. What was it coming into today? Fangraphs. Let me see. Josh Rojas, picking machine article up on Fangraphs. Very cool. The top-rated defensive third baseman this year, Josh Rojas. Crazy how the Mariners went. Mariners have just always had good defensive third basemen, it feels like. Let me just pull up the batting. From Beltre to Seager to Gino and now Rojas. WRC plus leaderboard, Atlanta's 122. Seattle's 96 entering today. So that's going to go up a little bit with today's effort. 17th in baseball. Again, not where we want this offense. Still overall underperforming. But starting to, like I said, we're getting an offense that's no longer garbage. We're getting an offense that's closer to average. And that's a huge boost. And it's one of the reasons why this team has been able to now get themselves 13 games over 500 and get themselves a 10-game lead in division. The pitching is lights out. We know that. It's all the starting pitching. We know it's going to have its moments. Even the best of the best struggle. Barry Bonds still made outs, at times. So I'm not saying it's always going to be locked in, but you've got great starting pitching. And at least on the back end, you feel good with Munoz. And even Stanek's been solid. There's good arms down there, just missing maybe some of the depth. The question is, what offense are we going to get? And we've talked about it a lot. If this offense could just move up to like 13th or 14th in baseball, I think you got a pretty darn good team. And WRC plus isn't the only metric. I mean, it's a tool. There's other metrics as well you can use, but I think it matches the eye test. I think we're seeing an offense that is capable. It's got holes. I still want them to add to it at the deadline, but it is capable of putting up some runs. So it's been good to see. And this was really a great offensive day for the Mariners. 8 runs, 11 hits, 7 walks. Honestly, 11 hits, 7 walks. I feel like they probably should have had more runs than 8. I think they did leave a couple out there. Some chances to maybe get that to 9 or 10, and would have been great to really push this game, I don't know what that noise was. Hope everybody's okay. To really push this game out of hand or really lock it in. But I'm also not going to be mad at a game where they score 8 runs. Let's break this one down. We'll start with the pitching, and then we'll move into the offense. Bryce Miller does get the win. 5 2/3, 6 hits, 3 run, 2 earned, 2 walks, 2 Ks. Again, like, I will say this, like, if Bryce Miller's the worst pitcher in your rotation, you're in really good shape. Because Miller was solid. He threw strikes, got some quick outs when they got a big lead. Did much better in this game than he did against Kansas City, preserving a big lead. A little bit of frustration in the 6th, gave up some hard contact. He had a pickoff throw that ended up being an error that scored a run. That drove me nuts. It's 7-2. Runners are at the corners, 2 outs. Get the hitter out. Listen, easier said than done, but why are we focusing on the base runner? I get in a 1-0 game, nobody's out, throw it over a little bit. I can totally understand that, but it's 7-2. It's not worth the risk. And how many pickoffs really are there? You maybe get picked off on a play like that 3 or 4 times a year. So is there really much reward there? Well, you keep the runner at first in a 7-2 game. Yeah, I don't want that run to score, but it's just not worth the risk. And listen, it's easy for me to say when the ball gets thrown away to say that, but I just hate that in that instance, because it's like, why are we even risking giving them a free run? It's a little bit of a shaky ending, and then I forgot who he walked, but it was like a 4 or 5 pitch walk to end his outing. So, I mean, Bryce was fine. Would have been nice to get him through 6. I think the bullpen could have played out a little bit nicer and not had to have used so many arms. But all in all, I'd give this like a C+, B- for Bryce Miller. It was fine. He literally like the definition of fine, I think, today for Bryce. Bullpen, Austin Voth throws like 1 pitch, I think. How many pitches did Voth throw? 2. 2 pitches gotten out. Hard to judge it, but got out of the 6th inning, which did have the tying run on deck when it was 7-3. So nice job by Voth. Taylor Saucedo, I do want to look at his outing a little bit. So he would have come in the 7th inning. Was that the 7th? Yeah, let's go to the 7th inning here. I just want to have the play-by-play up when I go through it. Bottom of the 7th. So it was 8-3 when Sauce came in. Walking Jonathan Rodriguez. I don't know much about Jonathan Rodriguez. I know he has a 484 OPS on the year. He is 24 years old. I think this is his first season. So I honestly don't know if he's like a legitimate prospect or not, but that seems like a bad walk. And you're up 8-3. I get it. Like, a double is worth worse than a walk in that instance, right? Clearly, it's a runner at second versus first. But there's just something so frustrating when you have a big lead about walking hitters. You're not making them earn it. Now, again, like, pitchers have to spit on pitches. You earn a walk, but it's just frustrating. So that was a frustrating walk from Saucedo. Then Stephen Kwan singles. Listen, Stephen Kwan's great. One of the best bat-to-ball skills in baseball. Good runner, doesn't strike out. Not too mad about giving up the hit there. That happens. Jimenez grounded out. Thought for a second it could be a double play. Didn't get it, though. They got the 1 out. When you're up 8-3, that's what you need to do. In Sauce's defense, the single by Jose Ramirez was a little dribbler hit to first. Sauce, when he throws, falls off the mound towards the third base side. He can't get over there in time. I don't think he would have anyways. Ramirez beats it out for an infield hit. That, again, like the Kwan hit, that I'm not going to get on Sauce too much there. Kwan actually hit, I think, a pitch that was high and inside, just turned on it. Ramirez, I mean, listen, if you're getting Jose Ramirez to hit balls with 45 exit velo, I don't know if that's what it was, but it was not hit hard. At least to my knowledge. Maybe, I'm sure it was hit harder than that. You're doing your job. You kept on the ground. He did his job. It's just unfortunate that it kind of went into no man's land there. And then he struck out Josh Naylor. Really, it was the walk to Rodriguez that was just super frustrating. You're up 8-3. If he gets a hit, he gets a hit. So Sauce wasn't good, but I think he's probably a little bit better than the line score. If that Ramirez hit would have been a ground out, I think we'd be talking a little bit different about Saucedo's outing. Ryan Stanek then comes in and strikes out David Fry, as good as we've seen Stanek all year. That splitter was on point, which always seems to be hit or miss for Stanek, and every pitch he threw was bottom of the zone. That was actually, I would make a case, the best Ryan Stanek has looked. That was one, I know it was one batter, but that was a fantastic outing from Ryan Stanek. And I'm starting to get to the point where, like, I trust Stanek. Do I trust him coming into runners at first and second, nobody out? He's got to get out of this situation. I trust him with nobody on base coming into a game. I'm starting to gain that trust a little bit with Ryan Stanek. So he did a fine job. Trent Thornton was awful. I mean, there's no way around what Trent Thornton today. He was really bad. First of all, he gives up the single to Will Brennan. Will Brennan's a pretty good hitter, or at least we see. Yeah, it's 692 OPS actually isn't very good, but he had a good day today. 3 hits. Shenman, Daniel Shenman. The Guardians are a team I really don't know a ton about. You ever do that? You ever watch a team and just like, I don't know a lot about this team, and they're in the AL. I probably should. They're a team the Mariners could play in the playoffs. But anyways, he grounded out. Thornton almost threw it away. Ty France made a great pick. Welcome back, Ty France. Great game for Ty. Great pick by Ty. Now, Thornton, the pitcher, did his job. He got a weak grounder there. It was Thornton, the fielder, that almost threw it away. And I know some people listening now going, Jay, what's the difference? I try and separate the pitching from the fielding. The pitch was fine. He got a little dribbler back to him. That's a good pitch. It was him fielding the ball that was a mess. But, they got an out of that. That's fine. Then he hits Rocchio and he hits Freeman. Just had no idea where the ball was going today. He had no clue. And it's just, walks and free passes and hitting guys. I'd rather see the base hits. I really would. So frustrating out from Thornton. Anytime you hit 2 guys, it's not good. And it put the Guardians loaded up the bases with that. And you had to go to Munoz for a 5-out save in a game that you were up 7-1 going into the bottom of the 6th. Again, I'm okay with it. I'm not going to lose sleep over that. The Mariners won. Their lead is now 10 games in the AL West. So I can sleep easy with that. But there may be a point in the year where that does kind of cost them down the road a little bit. It would have been really nice to give Munoz a day off. Again, go back to what I said earlier. I don't really think Munoz has been overused. It's just the fact that they're trying to be careful with him. And, maybe Stanek's kind of getting in that mode a little bit, but you're missing Santos and Brash, those guys that can kind of give you the Munoz-like outings behind Munoz. But anyways, Munoz was fantastic tonight. He comes in the bottom of the 8th, and he gets Stephen Kwan to ground out with, truthfully, double play ball. Kwan just runs too well, beats it out, scores a run, and then Jimenez grounds out. So, couldn't have been a better outing from Munoz. A run does score on the Kwan ground out, but in that instance, you're fine with that run scoring to get the out. And then in the bottom of the 9th, just easy peasy for Munoz. He does give up the double to David Fry. I think I was confusing Brennan with Fry. Fry has been a really good hitter this year. And then he strikes out Will Brennan to end it. So honestly, Munoz only throws 22 pitches. So it's not like it's anything crazy. I just think going the inning in 2/3, coming into that spot, warming up, he's probably down tomorrow would be my guess. And I think that's probably smart. And honestly, again, nothing is set in stone. We have a lot of baseball left. Broken record, I know, I'm saying it again. But it's probably right now with a 10-game lead not worth the risk to throw Munoz tomorrow, honestly. I'd rather give him the day off. That lead gives you the luxury. Again, I'm not saying like, oh yeah, just sit guys for a month and just sit on the 10-game lead. No, this is a big series. Cleveland is a team that's ahead of you to possibly get the wild card series off if you do win the division. So you want to win these games and possibly have the tiebreaker with Cleveland if you can. That would be huge. But first and foremost, the first goal is getting in the playoffs. Next goal is winning the division. That's the most attainable right now, is winning the division, which obviously gets you in the playoffs. You know what I mean? And you've got to focus on what's the best path for that. Yes, it'd be great to get the 2 seed or the 1 seed, but I think that's something you'll focus more on. Maybe August, September, start playing for that a little bit more. Right now, unless he's good to go, he may be. I don't know. If he's not, and you're questioning it, let Munoz sit tomorrow. But honestly, like when I started this recap in my head, I'm like, I'm going to rip the pitching today. Honestly, it was really just Thornton that was bad. Sauce's walk to Rodriguez is annoying. And then, Kwan's a good hitter. He got him. I don't think Sauce was that bad. Again, if that Ramirez grounder ends up being an out, I think we're all fine for the most part with Sauce tonight. It was really just Trent Thornton that was awful. Stanek was great, and Voth just got a 2-pitch flyout. Hard to really judge that outing. And Miller again, not amazing, but fine, got the job done. Let's move on to the offense. First of all, they knocked around Tristan McKenzie. 2 1/3 for him, 3 hits, 4 runs, all earned, 4 walks, and no strikeouts. That is an awful, awful outing. I was surprised they pulled him. Stephen Vogt pulled him so quickly. Game 1 of a series, I thought he might just kind of have to eat 4 innings. It's funny that the Mariners end up using just as much relievers as the Guardians to kind of get through that game. But I was a little surprised with a quick hook in game 1 and really leaning on that bullpen in the first game of the series. But in the end, the Mariners kind of do it too. So I don't think anything necessarily really lost, but good job by the Mariners. I kind of thought they were going to get to McKenzie. They didn't score in the first 2 innings, but JP had a leadoff walk. Then I think it was Ty France had a leadoff walk in the second. McKenzie just didn't look sharp. He wasn't missing bats. So I kind of thought they were going to get some runs. I think I even said on Twitter, because the Mariners got out of a bases loaded jam. Miller did in the second inning. Bases loaded, nobody out. Cleveland only scored 1 run. That was a great job by Miller. I forgot to mention that. And, that was huge because it was like, okay, 1 I can deal with. You don't want to start giving up 2, 3. That's when it gets, you start getting a little sweating it out a little bit. And then they bounced right back in the next inning and scored 4 off McKenzie. And like I said, when it was at 1, I tweeted out that, listen, I that's fine. I think they're going to get some runs off McKenzie tonight. You could kind of see it coming. And then they obviously did. J.P. Crawford, after a tough homestand, locked in on the road trip. 2 for 3 with 3 RBIs and 2 walks. And the 2 hits were a home run and a double from JP. So JP on base 4 times, 2 walks, a double, and a home run. Tremendous game from him and Dylan Moore, who we'll get to. Josh Rojas, 2 for 5. I didn't even know what the first hit was, to be honest. I remember the double. Rojas just quietly having a pretty solid June here. And that OPS is back up to 738, along with being so far the best defensive third baseman in baseball. You're getting good value out of Josh Rojas. Julio was really the only guy that stunk today. 0 for 5, and there were some bad at-bats in there. It does kind of feel like with Julio, a step forward, 2 steps back. Maybe it's more 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I'm still waiting for that I'm not looking for August of last year, but still just waiting for that couple-week hot streak where Julio is just really, really dialed in. And unfortunately, he's been better, but it's just like great series in Texas, then tough game today. We'll see. Could still have a great series. But, rough game for Julio today. Cal was 1 for 5 with an RBI double. Ty was 0 for 2, but worked 3 walks. Welcome back, Ty France. I didn't even talk about the roster move. Ty France reinstated from the injured list. Sebi Zavala DFA'd. Me and Mariner Sir talked about it a little bit. Go check out our podcast. It's up on my channel that we did last night. Uploaded it this morning. We talked about what the roster move would be for Ty France. We kind of both thought that even though it would be cool for Locklear to stay and DFA Zavala, we thought they'd just send Locklear down. It just made the most hey, it's quick, we can do that, and boom, roster's fine. But they DFA Zavala and keep Tyler Locklear. We'll see how they play it out. The Mariners do face 4 lefties starting on Thursday, and then 3 from the Marlins. So they may be utilizing Locklear to face the lefties. Wouldn't shock me if another roster move could be coming. I'm not necessarily advocating for it, but J.D. Davis was released by the A's or outrighted. Again, I'm not coming on here saying, oh yeah, I got to get J.D. Davis. But I do still wonder, would Locklear still benefit from just playing every day in Tacoma? We'll see how it plays out. Garver's going to have to do some more catching now with Zavala off the roster. And I don't think Zavala is going to clear waivers. I know that sounds crazy, but so many teams need catching depth that I think someone will claim Sebi Zavala. Could be wrong on that, but we'll see. So I think you can rotate around with Locklear DHing. Ty's probably going to need some DH days coming back from the injury, so Locklear can play first. So I think they'll make it work, but we'll see how it plays out. What I don't want to see is Locklear playing 20% of the time. If that's the case, send him to AAA. You've got an open 40-man spot. Bring Luis Urias back up. So we'll see what ends up happening. But really cool that Locklear does get to stick because he's had some really nice moments. I'm not against him being on the roster by any means at all. I'm excited about it. Locklear is a better player than Sebi Zavala, and the Mariners kept the better player. That's awesome. Let's see how they do the playing time. I think they'll make it work. Welcome back, Ty France. 0 for 2 with 3 walks. Should have had a 4th walk, but was rung up on a terrible call by Hunter Wendelstedt, who also tossed Luke Raley. Wendelstedt's kind of a joke, but great return from Ty France. Absolutely love to see it. Ty was locked in before he got hurt, and he looks pretty locked in coming back. So great to see from Ty France. Luke Raley, 2 for 5 with a double and he had a single and a home run. Number 8 for Luke Raley. Got the single off a lefty, was good to see, and got ejected. So a eventful day for Luke Raley. Robles came into the ninth, made a catch. Mitch Garver, 2 for 5 with 2 doubles. Garver is heating up. He has swung the bat so much better as of late, and he's mashed lefties. I think he had another double off a lefty today. His WRC plus versus lefties like 135. So he's been pretty dialed in against lefties. Get that 78, 79 WRC plus against righties up to 95 to 100. Then you got a decent hitter on your hands here. So Garver's been much better as of late for sure. Canzone was 0 for 3, kind of just missed a home run. I think in the second inning, would have been out of a couple ballparks. I think Fenway and Minute Maid. It was caught at the wall and left. 102 off the bat, just got under it a little bit. But, that would have been nice to get off the wall because the Mariners were crushing the ball. And then Dylan Moore with a tremendous day. 2 for 4, a double, a home run for Demo, and a walk. So Dylan Moore on base 3 times. His 7th home run, double, and the walk brings his OPS up to 732. Demo's just a streaky guy. It just is what it is. He was in a massive slump. And then all of a sudden, he'll just turn it on and have a series like this where you're like, dude, how do you get Dylan Moore out? And I'm serious. Like, he just goes through these spells where you wonder how he ever has a hit. Then you wonder how he ever makes an out. And at the end of the day, it evens out to a pretty solid, productive bat. And Demo, again, while Polanco's been out, has done a nice job and stabilized everything for the Mariners a bit. And he did it when JP was out too. Great win. Great to see this offense starting to get going. Again, is it where we want it to be, the overall numbers? No. But with this pitching, it doesn't have to be top 5. I think it just needs to be, let's see. The Dodgers lead baseball at the 122 WRC plus. Like Boston's at 105, the Giants at 106, Cleveland's at 106. You're going to do it a different way than Cleveland. You can kind of get your WRC plus around 104 to 106. I feel pretty good. And then you can make an addition at the deadline, do it regardless. Maybe that goes up to 108, 109. I don't know. But I do think this offense has it in them. I do. I don't think you're ever going to be talking about the most lights out offense in baseball. But I think it can be kind of sneaky good where you think you're going to shut this team out and they can hit some home runs, draw some walks, be pesky. And when they're hitting extra base hits like tonight, talk about the 11 hits. How many were extra bases? 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They had 2 singles. 9 of their 11 hits were extra bases. Rojas, I think, had a single, and Luke Raley had a single. Every other hit for this team was an extra base hit. I also forgot to mention Mitch Haniger pinched hit and walked and flew out. He pinched hit for a Canzone. Forgot to mention that. 9 extra base hits today. 7 walks, 8 runs. That's a great day. That is a great day of offense. And here's the thing. Was the bullpen a little shaky? Yeah, a couple guys were. But when you get big leads, it can be a little shaky. You know why the Mariners survived? They had a big enough lead. They were up 7-2, 8-3, 8-4. So they could afford the pen to be shaky. I'd like it not to be. I would prefer that game just be easy outs and winning at 8-1. Would be much better for all of our health. But getting a big offensive day like that allows the bullpen to be a little shaky and still lock down what was all in all a fairly stress-free win for the most part. Great win. Mariners improved to 44-31. They are 10 games ahead in the AL West. Enjoy it. Enjoy it, guys. I think it'll last. I don't know if they'll finish 10 games ahead in the division. I do think they will win it, but you never know. And soak in the now. Enjoy it now. I don't know where the team will be in 2 months. I think they'll be all right, but right now, let's live in the now and enjoy the now. And this team has been really, really fun. And now you got 2 games to win a series against a good ball club. That's why winning that first game always feels good. Have a great night, everybody. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and as always, go Mariners. Peace.